Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome to the 7th round of the CCRL Elite Tier season. Tonight we're at a track formerly known as the Austria Ring. It's the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria. Goodness me, it's a lot of words. For what should be a fantastic edition of the CCRL Elite Tier in their 5th season. Should be a fantastic race. This Hotspot back on the call with you once again. This track, it's not my favorite on the schedule, I'll be honest about that, but it is absolutely one to look forward to every single time we visit this track. Anytime anything ever visits this track, it is always going to be a very fun time. Excellent amounts of racing, excellent overtaking opportunities, and of course, you know, the track limits violations as well. And you're probably wondering, Hotspot, well, you know, as race fans, we don't really like track limits penalties, and I don't either, but this track, at least there's plenty of room to run and race, that is definitely for sure. As we find ourselves here loading onto the pit lane for what looks to be, for the time being at least, a dry qualifying session. Whether or not it stays that way, we've yet to see, because quite honestly with you, it doesn't look too promising. This track, one of the shortest, I think it probably is the shortest on the Formula One calendar, but does always provide some of the best racing that we see each and every time we visit this track. So many memorable moments come here as well. Only just the 10 corners then, 2 of which are named after, I believe, Austrian drivers. Niki Lauda is Niki Lauda Austrian? Yeah, he's, I think, at least Austrian. Jochen Rindt, that final corner, turn 9 and 10, I believe is born German. I don't know if he's full-on Austrian. I believe he flew under the Austrian flag, but I could be wrong. Anyways, it will be Curveball making his way up the hill first on our first time lap of the session. But before we do that, let's go along with our driver and constructor standings. Through last time out was the what do you call that? Was the redemption round at Brazil. That was a very fun race, that. And after it was all said and done, Soxy and that Williams leads the charge atop the table, 213 points. Second place is Reimer at 150. DWCJ third. It'll be Cato fourth, Curveball fifth, Angry Walrus sixth, Owa seventh, John the Prince eighth, Barney ninth, and rounding out the top 10 is Bongit in 10th. Although I would look out for Sepulveda. He's been on the cusp of a couple of good results here. He may find his way into the top 10 here after this round. As far as the constructors are concerned, the Williams team has dominated pretty much all season long. They lead the way at 327 points. Mercedes 168. That is a hell of a lot of a gap back to second place. Mercedes second, Aston Martin third, the V-Carbs in fourth, the Alpines in fifth, the Haas in sixth, Red Bull seventh, McLaren eighth, Ferrari ninth, and Sauber in 10th. And it's Curveball leading us up the hill in towards that Niki Lauda corner, turn number 1. It's a tricky one, this, because you want to take a lot of the outside into the corner. You also want to cut as much as the inside and then stay within track limits there, as you can see, as his teammate of Pontiac Bandit has actually spun the car and has now been disqualified from the session for blocking the pit lane. If there's ever been a moment to curse at something, now would be the time. Curveball has made his way through turn 3 and down the hill, DRS activated. He'll be going into turn 4. Very difficult corner of this circuit because the braking zone obviously is downhill and the car naturally wants to float to the outside of the track. And there it is there. There's gravel on the outside. It's not a fun time if you go off there. Through turn 5, heading towards turn 6 and 7 now. Fun couple of corners this. Don't really see much overtaking, but it does set up the back end of this lap very nicely. Here's turn 7, then the right-hander of turn 8. This is where Juan Pablo Montoya famously saw the deer and then made a joke about it that his engineers didn't quite understand. Through the Jochen Rindt corner, turn number 9, the only driver in Formula One history to win the World Drivers' Championship posthumously after his crash in Imola September 5th, I believe it was, 1970. His companion of Jackie X was unable to find any points in the remaining rounds of the championship, so he was able to win the championship at, I believe, the age of 28 years old, but he never did see himself win the championship. That's a very morbid fact about Formula One, but that is why that corner is named that. DWCJ 104.751. That is currently our fastest lap of the session so far. We've got the other Haas Alpine. Well, I guess in real life nowadays they are the Haas's, aren't they? Merck is going to be coming across the line. He's starting one now. And up the hill through the Niki Lauda corner. Hey, that was a good guess, September 5th. I was completely right about it. That was about the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Up the hill through turn number 2, which is interesting now because, well, it's not really much of a turn, is it? As you go up the hill with Bongit now, that's the turn, right there. Point me out where the turn is in any of that. I don't really know, but that's where they've labeled it. Up the hill through turn 3 now. We were along with Merck. Let's go along with him once again down the hill through turn 4. He's gone a little bit slow on the apex of the corner there, but he's just trying to make sure he doesn't push to the outside, which is a very valid way about it. Bong it on the medium tires, as you can see right now, the only driver on the grid to do so. But, that's something we do typically see sometimes drivers do. Not so much anymore. That used to be a pretty common occurrence back in the day when we had the qualifying tire rule that stated whatever tire you ended qualifying 2 on, you had to use in the Grand Prix. So a lot of times guys would use the mediums, and that would translate into these one single qualifying sessions as well. See, a lot of the times the guys would go on mediums. 105.809 for Merck. He gets himself 5th on the grid. About a 10th off of Raptor. TWCJ, for the time being, leads by 4.5 tenths of a second. We've got the other Ferrari of Bong It making his way across the line now, and he'll be up to 10th. 109.351. He's on the medium tires, and I don't think that was a push lap for him either. I believe this is going to be the one to look out here for Bong It. We do now have the Haas of Raptor coming across the line now. I believe he's going to be starting a new one here, actually. We've also got the Sauber behind him of Johnny Damon. I believe he's going to be starting another one, as well as the Mercedes. It's going to be Official, who has gone 8th. Finds himself about a 10th of a second behind Manson. Just looking to see when that Williams of Soxy comes out on track. That's going to be the driver to look for that we've looked for all season long. That guy, probably one of the best drivers I've ever seen in sim racing, although I do only just do the F1 games of sim racing, but hopefully one day it'll translate to iRacing. Charlie Golf has made his way through turn 1. This is where they've made that new chicane for the MotoGP races. I think it's quite interesting. Maybe even Formula 1 should be using that chicane. I don't know. I do like watching the world burn after all. Charlie Golf making his way out of turn number 3 and down the hill. He'll have DRS activated here. And on the way down into turn 4, we do have next across the line, I believe, the Ferrari of... Is that Bong It, who's actually gone 9th? Yes, Bong It has improved by quite a lot. Still in that 9th place, now 10th place, as it was Angry Walrus has gone 2nd of the standings. But Bong It has put together a much more representative lap that time, and I think he's done that as well on the mediums. Yes, he has. So good looks there for Bong It. Across the line just then, I believe, was Official, who's gone 2nd. Wow, okay. Very good for the Mercedes. DWCJ back out on an outlap here. Charlie Golf making his way through the Jock and Rindt corner now, and down the hill through turn 10. Got to be careful of the way on exit here. You don't want to invalidate this and next. It's a quick lap, this, and it's a 104.641. Well, not only is the lap in distance quick, Charlie Golf has gone quite quick around this circuit. Very nicely done. 104.641, your time to beat. DWCJ out on track as well. The other McLaren coming through of John the Prince. He's gone P6 at the moment. Not a bad lap for him. 105.316. Improves by everything. Yeah, up to that 6th spot. Very competitive midfield so far. And I say midfield because we are just waiting for that, not only Mercedes of Reimer coming around the track, but that Williams of Soxy as well. Soxy making his way atop turn 3. Reimer has made his way to the chicane section of the track. If he was to take that right-handed corner right there, you can't quite see it because it's not there at the moment. But if you were to take that right corner, that would be where the national circuit kind of goes round. It cuts off there. It's an interesting little layout. I don't know what actually uses it, but if you've played any other racing game in your life, you'll know it exists. Aniote up the hill through turn 1, the Niki Lauda corner. Right there, that's your corner. Anyways, up the hill through turn 2 now. I believe, is that Hemphead? Yes. Hemphead, who I think is on a timed lap here, spun the car around, exiting the Niki Lauda corner. But we'll go back along with him in just a little bit, I promise you. It's going to be the Williams of Soxy coming through the final corner now, starting what is surely going to be a timed attempt to look out for here, across the line, and up the hill into the Niki Lauda first corner. Takes a lot of the curb on the outside, goes completely straddles it. Well, he's taken a lot of the curb on the inside of turn 1. The back end of the car nearly wanted to come around from him there. That was slightly risky. Up the hill through turn 2 and eventually turn 3 into that braking zone, up the hill. Which will surely find some action once DRS is in play. That's a big slide from Soxy. He holds it together, but a rare mistake from the otherwise robotic Williams driver, this. I'm not quite sure this is going to be the pole time he was looking for, but I'm sure he's going to find another time here shortly. You know, this Austrian track, according to the game, is labeled as very easy. I don't really think that's quite the case. There's a lot of places to go wrong here, and one error really does in an entire time lap. You think about Monza and that opening chicane on the front stretch there. You get that wrong, and the rest of the lap is just completely out the window. I think there's a couple of places on this track just like it. Through the Jock and Rindt corner, going through turn 10 now is Soxy as he makes his way. Holds it very nicely on exit. And across the line for the Williams driver, the championship leader, only 5th. 105.203, and I tell you what, There's definitely going to be some improvement to be found there. 5.5 tenths of a second off of the top spot of Charlie Gulf for the time being, but I'm sure you'll be able to see him at that pole spot here very shortly. He's been that dominating of a driver. Reimer has gone third. Not a bad lap from him at all. 2.5 tenths away from Charlie Gulf's time, which for the moment remains untouched here in the CCRL Elite Tier. Oh, sorry about that. That was Merck who spun it round at turn 4. Sepulveda across the line now. I believe he's actually gone slower by about 7 tenths of a second. Not what you want to see. Although this looks like it might be his timed lap now. Yes, it is. He's got it set on the hot lap here. While we have a minute, let's go over our next 3 or 4 races here on the Elite Tier calendar. Matter of fact, we've only got 4 races left after today. We've got the Barcelona circuit next time out, August 7th. For another classic edition. That's going to be round 8. Round number 9, the Zandvoort circuit in the Netherlands. Round 10, the penultimate round, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico. I can't speak slurring letters like that. I apologize. I'm trying my best. I really am. That's the penultimate round, August 21st at Mexico. That should be a fun one. I recently had a 100% distance Grand Prix there, and that was a lot of fun. August 28th, final round of the season, we do go to Abu Dhabi for what I believe to be is a full qualifying session plus the 50% Grand Prix, so that should be really fun. Sepulveda making his way around turns 9 and 10 now. I think he's had a little bit of a hash at turn 9 there. 7 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. Yeah, it's only P13 for Sepulveda. Next on the line is going to be the Aston Martin of Angry Walrus, who has gone third. Improves by 3 tenths of a second. It's a 104.862, I believe that says. 826. Has gone third. Gets himself within 2 tenths of a second of Charlie Gulf. Big question is, as Soxy makes his way now through Sector 2. I believe it said it was an improvement at, 6.5, nearly 7 tenths of a second through Sector 2, but I think he's had a bit of a slide there going through Turn 7. This does not look as if it's going to be a perfect lap here from Soxy. 7 minutes remain. Another little bit of a slide there. He's absolutely putting this car to the limit, as you can tell. Oh, he's gone wide. Whoa, he's going to be able to keep the time. I don't know how he's done that, but across the line for Soxy, and it's third. 104.821 improves by nearly 4 tenths of a second, but still not able to get onto the front row of the grid is the Williams driver of Soxy. 6 minutes and 40 seconds remain now. We've got the V-Carb coming around the line now. It's Curveball. He's gone 9th. Next up behind him, it's one of the Saubers. I believe it's Sepulveda, although probably coming into the pit lane, and that's what he's doing. We've got R. Manson making his way through Sector 2, 84 one-thousandths of a second. Better through Sector 1, through Sector 2, quarter of a second quicker. Not looking too bad for Manson at the moment. Probably find his way into the top 10 with a good attempt here. If he can make it through turns 9 and 10, good enough. Across the line just then, I believe. Well, Official has gone 6th. He's gotten ahead of Cato. R. Manson to 12th. Does improve by a quarter of a second. Still about 2 tenths of a second outside the top 10 for the time being. Next around the line, one of the Haas drivers. It's going to be Raptor about to start one here. We got the Williams coming through as well. It's not Cato. Soxy's going to be entering the pit lane here. Let's go along with Raptor as he makes his way down the pit straight. Although I thought so. No, he's invalidated this and next. That sucks. Anyways, Curveball into the pit lane. Owa has joined the session. Potentially will be the 19th driver on the grid. That'll look good. And things have potentially calmed down just a minute here. We got 5.5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session, which doesn't mean a lot necessarily on this track. It means a lot in the sense of, you know, having a good run into turn 1, making sure you're not amidst the chaos through that very tight uphill right-handed corner of turn 1. But it's not going to matter nearly as much on this track. When you have as much DRS in play as you typically do, obviously the threat of weather is always in play, but it's just truly a racer's track, this. Yeah, it does have to be said. You're not going to be panicking if you're somewhere, you know, row 4, row 5, row 6. You're not really going to be pooping yourself at that point. But across the line is GWCJ, starting another timed attempt here. Let's see how he does. Is up the hill, heading into the Niki Lauda turn number 1. Yeah, I would say he's held that pretty well. Uses curb on the exit, but not enough to get the car loose and not enough to exit track limits. So good looks there. Up the hill. 8 one-thousandths of a second slower through Sector 1. That's a little odd. Needs a 10th to get on pole. Needs about 4 one-hundredths to get second. At the moment, it's a front row lockout for the McLarens. Down the hill, heading to turn 4. Got relatively clear track ahead of him. He's got one of the Red Bulls. I believe it's that of Onyote. It's either that or Owa. No, it is Onyote. He's the only Red Bull on track currently. Through turn 6 at the line is about a tenth and a half quicker through sector 2. If he can put together a final good couple of corners here. Oh, but now he's got some traffic. He's got the Ferrari and he's got a Red Bull ahead of him. This might get tricky here. A lot of curve on the outside. Thankfully, he's actually been able to hold that quite well. Through turn 10 now, if he holds it well on exit, he's got a good chance of going provisional pole. 3 minutes and 44 seconds remaining until 1:04.543. Improves by 0.2 of a second and has Charlie Golf by just under a tenth of a second. John the Prince is going to be starting one here very shortly, but yet again, we got the Williams of Soxy on track. We got to drop everything and look and see what he's doing, because this guy has been the pinnacle of the series this season. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he's the type of driver, really, you look back, you actually go and you watch one of my casts to see what he's doing differently. He's that good of a driver. You know, you're not watching it for yourself, you're watching to study and learn from this guy. So down the pit straight he goes, and up the hill into turn 1. This is where he made somewhat of a mistake on his first attempt. A lot of curb on the outside, that's what he did. Well, I tell you what, still not the best going through turn 1. He's taken a lot of the sausage curb on the inside. He's done it better than his previous attempt. I think he's still going to find an improvement here through sector 1. Yeah, 17 1,000ths of a second. It's not pretty, but it is an improvement. Through turn 3, he also had a bit of a mistake there last time as well, so he's done better then. 2 minutes and 25 remaining in the session now. We've got the Mercedes coming around the line. It's going to be that of Official, currently P7. 2 Mercedes guys looking to lock out that third row. That'd be quite nice. Exits turns 4 and 5 into turn 6. Uses a lot of curve on the outside. Doesn't touch any on the inside. Typically goes spinning if you do that. 0.2 quicker through sector 2 for Soxy, putting him kind of within that range for pole, but 2-minute warning here in Spielberg. This is getting to the position now where if you invalidate a timed attempt, you're really not going to find another one through the session. Through turn 9 and 10, and oh, look at that, he's done just that! But is he going to be able to keep the lap? What? 1:04.226. He's kept the lap after going wide into the final corner and has 0.3 of a second back to DWCJ. Charlie Golf, 5/100 slower through sector 1 for the time being. His teammate John the Prince has 90 seconds remaining and is not out on track. We've got the V-carb of Curveball coming to the line now, and only 9th. Does improve by 0.4 of a second. Not enough to get onto that 4th row. We've got the Mercedes coming through now. It's going to be not Reimer, it's Official, who is finishing out a timed lap here. A little squirrely going through turn number 10, and across the line for Official is actually slower by about 1.5 tenths, and he's ideally you want to take this next lap here slow to build up some energy store, but he's only got 60 seconds remaining. Not really going to be enough. Reimer's cutting it quite close here as well. Johnny Damon's gone 4th, improves by 0.5 seconds. Charlie Golf to the line. Does not improve, but he's going to be starting a new one here. We've got the Alpine coming up next with Merck, currently P14. Charlie Golf with us now. We'll check back with him in a minute. We got Angry Walrus, who's not on a flyer. His teammate of Manson, I think, may be starting one here. Sepulveda, P11, coming into the final corner. He's starting his final attempt. We're going to have one hell of a fight to the finish here. As next around the line, it's not going to be Kato. It is going to be Soxy, who will be beginning another one here. 20 seconds remaining. Oh, it's absolutely gut check time, and Soxy has invalidated his final attempt. He's gone too far over the inside curb going through turn 1. That could very well mean pole position is under siege. It's not going to be by the Mercedes of Official. He's into the pit lane. Time is about to expire. Bongen is not going to make it back round to the line. Neither is the Haas of Raptor. Next up, though, is going to be the McLaren of Charlie Golf. Oh, he's on a big slide going through turn 9. I don't think that's going to be an improvement. Johnny Damon into the pit lane. We've got next up, it's not the Williams of Kato. It's going to be the Alpine of Merck into the pit lane. Next up behind him, it's going to be Angry Walrus, not him, it's his teammates, of R. Manson to the line. 11 for R. Manson. That's a pretty good lap. Not really good enough to really shout home about. Sepulveda, I think, slower through sector 2. coming through turn 10 now, holds it well on the exit, but I don't think this is going to be an improvement across the line for Sepulveda. Does improve, only a 10th. Kato not up next. Behind him it's Soxy, who has done all he can, but not going to be able to do it. Reimer has invalidated his attempt. Not going to do it for him. It's up to Kato now, and the V-carb of Curveball behind him. Kato somehow goes wide, but keeps his time, and across the line for Kato, stays 9th. And Owat to the line. Is he going to be able to get one? Does get 16th. So, the Williams of Soxy somehow stays pole. A lot of not good attempts there from the real frontrunners in this battle. Charlie Golf, Johnny Damon, John the Prince, Walrus, all not really having good attempts there on that final go. But what I can say is this, Soxy has really not had the best session here. Yes, he's on pole. Yes, it's by 0.3 of a second. But I've seen a lot more mistakes today than I have from him recently. Soxy pole, DWCJ second, Charlie Golf third, Johnny Damon fourth, John the Prince fifth, Angry Walrus sixth, the pair of Mercedes rounding out row 4. And we'll pick it back up once we get to the next screen, but it is Soxy on pole once again. 0.3 of a second was the margin. So picking it up from row 4, the pair of the Mercedes, Reimer 7th, Official 8th, Kato 9th, Curveball 10th, Armanson 11th, Sepulveda 12th, Bong at 13th, Raptor 14th, 15th is Merc, 16th is Owa, 17th is Anyote, 18th is Hemphead, and rounding out the grid, unfortunately disqualified from the session, was Pontiac Bandit. Yet again, though, Soxy may have pole here. I've seen some mistakes from him, though. I'm not too confident that this is his best track. If so, he's going to take it a lot more careful in the race, which could open the door for those behind. And to hell with a formation lap, guys will see this sort of thing and say, hell yeah, as we have 5 lights, and we are underway. Already off the line, Soxy gets a pretty halfway decent start on the medium tires up the hill. He does lead DWCJ. Charlie Golf is going to try to swing it around the outside. He may actually end up getting it. No, he's had to go wide there, I'm afraid. But as they file through the Niki Lauda corner, and then up the hill in towards turns 2 and 3, Johnny Damon and Charlie Golf side by side, up the hill into turn number 3. Your pit stop strategy, lap 16 to 25, as still the Sauber Johnny Damon on the inside does make the move happen, at least for the time being. It's a 10th and a half, 0.2 of a second between DWCJ and Soxy as they make their way down the hill into turn 4. And it looks as if DWCJ might go in too deep, and the McLaren behind has gotten into him, and they tumble down the order. Johnny Damon up to second, John the Prince to third, and it looks as if DWCJ will fall back to 5th, and now amongst a sea of traffic, side by side with the Aston Martin of Angry Walrus gets into it with him, and Reimer goes down the inside and gets the spot. And what a conundrum for DWCJ and Charlie Golf off the line. That is not what they needed, not what they wanted, and now find themselves in a whole lot of hot water as they now have to climb to get back to the top of the table. And oh, by the way, Soxy already out to a nearly 1.5-second gap over the rest of the grid here. But as they make their way down the pit straight, 36 laps of the Red Bull Ring here. First of which complete, we do now have, who is that? That's Merc and Sepulveda side by side going up into turn 1. Merc on the inside. Well, he's actually held that one quite well. I thought that one was going to get nasty, and it didn't. Armanson and Curveball side by side. DRS activated for the both of them. Up the hill, contact being made. Somehow they keep it together. Manson on the inside. Reimer's getting past DWCJ up ahead as well, but a good move there for Armanson. And Reimer did get round DWCJ as they now file down the hill as we have a yellow flag. Pontiac Bandit's gone around to the back, and I think he lost a bit of the front wing as well. Yes, he has. Not going to be a safety car, but enough to want to make him probably leave the session, as that's an early mistake, and he's not going to get any help from race control. Through Sector 3 now, turns 7 and 8, and it looks as if Bong may have a look at Curveball here. I think Curveball is actually stayed to the inside there. It's going to be Merc and Sepulveda again. Sepulveda around the outside. If he's able to do this through turn 9, that's a brilliant move. And yeah, he's going to do just that, but he is going to be pushed wide. Yeah, he's going to be able to keep the spot, I think. But yeah, good move from Sepulveda. DRS obviously activated at this point. We had it last time by with the new regulations for this year. You get DRS after the first lap of the Grand Prix. And here's John the Prince making his way around the left side. And Johnny Damon's going to have no compete with that one, as he's not had DRS to Soxy ahead. Angry Walrus trying to poke his head on the battle as well. A little bit of contact there from Damon on the Prince. And now Angry Walrus to the inside. Gets one, may get two. Pontiac Bandit a 10-second penalty for speeding to the pit lane. And Walrus double overtake there with the aid of DRS up to second, and is now within about 1.25 seconds back to Soxy, as the rest of the grid try their best to hold on to the back end of the Mercedes here, but it's really not coming to any avail. That Williams, sorry, not you know what I mean. That Williams atop the grid very, very quickly. We thought that he was going to be making a little bit of a mistake as, you know, his qualifying session looked a bit sloppy at times, but no, already out to a ridiculous gap. It's 0.2 of a second between John the Prince and Angry Walrus. They'll have it going through turns 9 and 10. Bit of a lockup there for Walrus. That car nearly went round as we now have a huge DRS train here. Heading up the hill into turn 2. Is John the Prince going to try it? He may have a look. No, not this time. But maybe will he have one coming out of Niki Lauda turn 1, who will have a move as Reimer. Down to the inside of Johnny Damon. He's going to have that one with ease. And now John the Prince looking for the left side on Angry Walrus, and he's going to get it up the hill. It's a 5 or 6 car scramble here in the corner. Hopefully they all make it okay. And it looks as if, yes, they have. A little bit squirrely for Angry Walrus. I think maybe did Reimer and DWCJ, perhaps was contact made there. I'm not too sure. Down the hill, Johnny Damon, maybe have a look there. DWCJ, oh, he's going to try to go for both of them. He's gotten Charlie Golf, nearly went into the side of Reimer. Will tuck in line in the 6th position. Maybe will he try to stick it around the outside through turn number 6. It's exactly what he's going to try to do. There's not a lot of room on the outside of the corner there. He's got to be careful. Reimer giving him plenty of room. He's not going to have the move there, but nearly a beautiful one. It's almost looking like NASCAR out here. One by one they go, making their way now through turns 9 and 10. Charlie Golf kind of the back of this train here. Official is catching up to him. Cato trying to enter the picture as well, a little bit further behind R. Manson outside of DRS range. We'd like to be able to have a look at tire strategy, but goodness me, we've gotten so caught up here. All but 3 on the medium tires, those 3 being Sepulveda, Merck, and Agnote. Everybody else on the medium tires. Now as they go, heading up the hill. John the Prince 2 seconds behind Soxy already. Look at Walrus. Really wants the inside there. Not quite going to have it. He may go deep into the corner. Johnny Damon's going to tuck on the inside. And, well, I tell you what, nearly had it. DWCJ, a little bit of contact with Reimer there. But who did make contact was Charlie Golf. Has taken a trip through the grass somewhere along the line and has fallen down to 10th. DWCJ not going to have it on Reimer here. Currently the battle at hand for the 2nd position. John the Prince, Walrus, Damon, Reimer, DWCJ, Official, and nearly Cato on this battle as well. 7-driver battle for the 2nd position. And it's all cracking out here. Soxy through turns 9 and 10. 2-second advantage already for the guy. I'm just thinking, I have not been pinged saying there's weather in the area, but look at the sky and tell me it doesn't look like it could rain at any given moment. As they make their way now up the hill one more time. Going through turn 1. Oh, Reimer's gone a bit wide there. He's going to have to allow, I think, DWCJ to the inside. Well, not have to allow, but he will. He's not going to defend now. Angry Walrus has gotten around John the Prince. Maybe does now. DWCJ have the move up into the corner. Yes, he does. Reimer's giving him plenty of room. Oh, I tell you what. Contact was made there. John the Prince has gone round. It's gone from bad to worse for the McLarens. John the Prince has gone round. We've got front wings scattered throughout that section of the track. Pontiac Bandits picked up a 3 for multiple warnings. Somebody has lost a front wing there, and let's do some investigative work to find out who it was. We're not too sure where that contact was made along the line. It doesn't appear to be Angry Walrus. Maybe is it Johnny Damon? Because that's about where John the Prince was in that battle. Yeah, the game's not giving us a good camera angle at all. And no, it's not Johnny Damon either. Well, we'll find out if one of them comes into the pit lane here, which it doesn't appear that any of them will. So I don't know what's happening at this point. I could have swore I saw carbon fiber flying. I'm not hallucinating, I don't think. I'm not eating anything funny. Not that I know of. DWCJ, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, as you can see. They'll have Official going to the left side now and up the hill through turns 2 and 3. And, yep, that one's going to be quite textbook there, especially with DRS activated. So far, through 6 laps completed on our 7th here, Angry Walrus up 4. He's had a lot of help from drivers around him, crashing and spinning and sliding and banging and beating and... Oh, this is turning a little weird, isn't it? But he's up to 2nd, either way. 3 positions gained for the pair of the Mercedes. Remember, they started, I think it was row 4, so they're doing pretty good. 3 positions gained for Merck. Unfortunately, in the negative direction. Charlie Golf down 5, John the Prince down 10, as we've got DWCJ, sorry, that's Official, down to the inside of DWCJ for that 5th spot. 0.2 of a second for the time being. We'll have a look at the penalty tracker. It looks as if has Bongit gone round? Nobody's been taken by both the Red Bull of Owa and Merck in the process. DWCJ, I think, may have a good look at Official here. Official does not have DRS to his teammate ahead. Soxy, I think somewhere along the line, has actually made somewhat of a mistake. He was about a 2.5-second gap not all that long ago, now down to a 1.5 seconds. So, somewhere along the line, that Mercedes has lost, that Williams Mercedes, has lost time. And I don't quite know where it is. DWCJ will go up the inside through turns 2 and 3, and I think he'll have that one pretty easily if he stays on that inside. Well, he's actually gone way over the inside of the corner. Surely picked up another track limits warning there. A little bit too deep, and now Official's going to have the ability to strike back. He'll opt for the left side. Oh, it is that of DWCJ. He's missing end plate there on the left front side, as you can just see. There is the Alpine. Yep, he's missing carbon fiber. I wasn't wrong, was I? A little bit of a slide there from Angry Walrus. That's held up Johnny Damon. These two were making some good pace, and now they've lost 0.6 of a second. And that just a little bit of a swivel for the Aston Martin ahead, as we're about to begin our 9th lap of this 36-lap Grand Prix. Going through the Jacques and Rindt corner 9 and eventually turn 10 after that. And now down the pit straight they go. I don't think he's going to find a move here unless he does. Johnny Damon, does he have a look? No, not quite this time. He probably will have it going up to turn 2. It's interesting, as much as overtaking does happen quite often on this track, sometimes you're going to see drivers slightly reluctant to making the move. That's not going to be the case for Johnny Damon or Reimer in this instance. But sometimes you'll almost see drivers reluctant to make moves because they know there's another DRS zone going down the hill into turn 4. It's almost as if sometimes not having DRS is just going to hurt you so bad that you don't want to make the overtake ahead of you. Walrus and Reimer side by side exiting turn 4 and 5. We were trying to go along with Kato there. He fell a couple of spots. Side by side, Walrus will tuck back in line. Reimer's going to push high through the corner. I thought Walrus was maybe going to have a look to the inside there through turn 6. Didn't happen. 0.3 of a second the gap. Official back to DWCJ, 2.5 of a second. Charlie Gulf looking for this as well. And Kato's missing end plate as well. That's on the right front side. Yeah, something's happened with Kato. He's losing time. Angry Walrus, our 4th place runner at the moment, has picked up a 3-second time penalty. We're assuming that's coming out of turn 10. Our Manson now, well, he's actually gotten the inside of Kato up the hill through 1. Oh, Kato's gone clean to the back of our Manson. Manson's gone well off the track. It's going to allow Sepulveda down to the inside. DWCJ now picks up his second 3-second time penalty of the day, putting him at 6. Walrus and Reimer battling it out going through turn 1. Oh, they're so side by side, in fact, that they've gone off the track. Well, I apologize. We were along with Official, who I think was making that move on DWCJ, but as it turns out, we had such a great battle ahead that it almost didn't end correctly. Well, matter of fact, it didn't. They went off track. They've kept it clean. Well, you see, that is an interesting penalty, and I'll tell you why. Those cars were side by side going through that corner, and I think Reimer was the one on the outside being pushed wide. Reimer is not going to be able to get that penalty taken off, matter of fact, because he's going to be able to serve it under his pit stop. I don't believe you can get that penalty made up if you serve it under your pit stop, and he will have to do that. That one could end up in a penalty for Angry Walrus, though, because I think, again, it was that Aston Martin on the inside that pushed Reimer wide. I could be wrong. I didn't get the best look at it, I'll admit, but that's kind of how I saw it. Walrus will go now around the outside as we got Merck round at turn 1, and if he's lost enough of his front wing, that could be a safety car. He has lost a bit of the front wing. Track's going to stay green. Curveball gets around Bong. It may have a look at Kato here, up the inside, going through turn number 3. Didn't quite get it that time, but we do have Official. Perhaps on the inside of his teammate here. No, not quite. Oh, but DWCJ trying to send it to the inside. And DW may get it here. He's missing a bit of his front wing, but he's not lost any of his confidence. And, well, he'll tuck back in line behind the 2 Mercedes at the moment. But that was almost very cool from DWCJ, I'll admit. He's going to have to defend from Charlie Gulf here momentarily. I tell you what, this McLaren on the cusp of doing something pretty cool here, and there's nobody behind him. So Charlie Gulf could very easily work his way up the order here if he starts getting a little gutsy. And once again, Soxy has lost another second of his advantage that he did have. Because I tell you what, we saw it a couple of times in that session where he had been making mistakes through some of these corners and had been going wide and potentially picking up, track limits warnings. Maybe it's Soxy on 2 warnings right now because he's lost so much time. Again, 2-second advantage out the window. And now Johnny Damon has DRS to the race leader. Well, this I didn't expect. We're about a third of the way through this Grand Prix already, and by goodness, we've had some amazing action. And well, I can guarantee you, we've got more coming here. That's for sure. Reimer still on that 10-second penalty. I think he's going to be able to serve that on his pit stop, and won't be able to take that to the stewards. I don't think, unless that's just a rule that I'm wrong about, which it could be. Charlie Golf now, this is what we were talking about, has to start making moves here, because I think what official's going to do is going to start backing up and defending for his teammate here. That could very well be the case. Bit of contact there, Charlie Golf into the back end of DWCJ. Reimer now, will he have a look at Angry Walrus? Not quite. By the way, that's a 5-second gap that's taking place now between the Aston Martin in third and the Sauber in second. Soon to be in the lead, as maybe does he try it up the inside going into turn number 3. There goes Johnny Damon late on the brakes, and it does look as if he's got the position. He doesn't need to park it on the apex. New leader, Johnny Damon. Not the Red Sox player, the Sauber driver. Reimer's gotten around Angry Walrus in the process. It does look as if Charlie Golf has remained confident in that 7th position. Doesn't, for the time being, look as if he's too concerned about having to overtake DWCJ, or that of official for that matter. Still, it's 4.5 tenths of a second between Johnny Damon and Soxy for the lead of the Grand Prix. We do have John the Prince and Curveball battling it out behind. It looks as if John the Prince has gotten around him through the turn 4 braking zone. Goodness me, so much going on here. But we'll pick it back up with the leaders of this Grand Prix. Johnny Damon leading Soxy, half a second. The gap not really getting bigger. As a matter of fact, it's going to get smaller here quite a bit with the DRS in play. Really, even if you got a full 8-9 tenths of a second. Oh, that's a big slide from Johnny Damon, and he succumbed to the pressure of the championship leader, I'm afraid, as Soxy reclaims the lead of this Grand Prix. Sepulveda will get round Armanton through the first corner. Now going up the hill, do we see any late braking here from Angry Walrus? Not going to happen this time. Official, not going to have any pressure from DWCJ. Charlie Golf still quite comfortable in 7th. Oh, big slide for Sepulveda. He's done that on his own, I'm afraid, as he's spun down to now 10th and maybe falling even further. He'll rejoin the track in 10th. He'll get immediately overtaken by John the Prince. As we have, oh, who is that? That's gone very wide. It's Merck. Well, Merck has lost that car completely. Going through Jacques and Rindt, turn 9. He's going to have to cut the track here to get into the pit lane. He's done just that. There's safer ways to do that, I'll admit, but that one's... yeah, anyways. I'm assuming that's probably going to be the end of the day for Merck here, unless is there, weather coming potentially. Is Angry Walrus actually into the pit lane here? I didn't expect this. Is he missing front wing? Can we see? Can we see? No, doesn't appear to be missing any front wing. Pure strategical strop. Although, by the way, it is lap 15. This race is moving along so quickly. We're already 15 laps down. This is well within the tire range of the mediums. Yeah, we're going to be seeing some strategical pit stops happen here very shortly. And by the way, perhaps do we see some strategies between official and DWCJ here? Potentially, will the Mercedes ahead back up the Alpine for his teammate? There could be potential. Reimer again, the tenor for allegedly cutting a corner or going wide and picking up the position. That was in the battle with who was it? That was Angry Walrus. Again, we think Reimer was kind of pushed wide. Walrus was giving him the spot back. Potentially was that the case? We don't know. Soxy, well, there you go. He's picked up a 3-second for multiple warnings. Soxy's actually into the pit lane. He's hit the wall on the way into the pit lane. Did he potentially pick up damage then? Because that was a noticeable slide. And into the pit lane for the Williams. No, doesn't appear he's picked up damage, but it'll be to the hard tires and a 3-second penalty to boot for the Williams. And we saw him struggling as Angry Walrus up to 6 seconds. So Johnny Damon will have the lead. Official has inherited second. Raptor has picked up a tenner for speeding in the pit lane. That's because Soxy took the pit lane speed limit board with him on the way in. So I would go ahead and assume that we're going to be seeing a lot of drivers with tenors for speeding in the pit lane. Charlie Golf to the inside of official. He's done that one quite easily. Reimer, in serving his tenor, has fallen back to 11th with his pit stop. Puts him amongst the ranks with Angry Walrus, although 11 seconds behind Walrus. Sorry, who was that there? Is that hemp head or is that bong it? Either way. No, I think it's hemp head. Bong it now. May have a look at Reimer here. Fresh, hard tires, I think. Yep. Around the outside for the Ferrari. Trying to find that 11th position. He'll go too deep into the braking zone. Has actually gone slightly off-roading there, has the Ferrari, but he's been able to keep himself on track as Soxy stays out. John the Prince pits. Sepulveda stays out. Manson pits. Official pits. DWCJ pits, getting that front wing replaced as well. So that will promote, I was going to say the pair of the Saubers up to the top 2 spots. Soxy's gotten around Johnny Damon. We may see some defending played here from Sepulveda, who started this race on said hard tires he currently finds himself on. As we are, about halfway through this Grand Prix. Once again, though, Soxy, the 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, which we kind of figured was on the cards. With how quickly he was losing time in the beginning, we figured he had to be on 1 or 2 warnings. And, had to start playing it carefully. That's, I think, exactly what's happened, but now finds himself in a Sauber sandwich here, is the Williams. Now, this could go one of 2 ways. Sepulveda could hold up Soxy or could fight him. And Sepulveda's going to try to... He's actually going to pull a bit of a defensive maneuver there. That's going to allow at least Johnny Damon with DRS, so Sepulveda may drop to 3rd here as Soxy gets a good run. Johnny Damon within the slipstream of the Williams here, up the hill. Is he going to outbrake him into turn 1? No, but that very well could be. Oh, bit of a slide on the back end. Has he made contact with his teammate there? Oh, that car went around a lot in the back end going through turn 3. I think maybe did Sepulveda make contact with his teammate. Oh, I hope that's not the case. Curveball up the inside of Reimer here going through turn 3. As Pontiac Bandit now 3 seconds for multiple warnings, up to 16 seconds. This may allow Kato into the mix as well, around the outside of 1, and will get 2 on the way down into turn 4. Double overtake for Kato, nicely done. Now back to the 9th spot, in which he started this Grand Prix from. We'll go back along with the penalty tracker here. Good battle in and amongst the midfield for the time being. Walrus has made his way back to 4th. Sepulveda down to 3rd. Damon up to 2nd. And again, what we're looking at here is Johnny Damon within DRS range. Here they go, trying to find their way up the hill. As Kato, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. His first of the day. Up the hill through turn 3. No late braking move that time for Johnny Damon, but if he gets a good enough exit, he could look for one in the turn 4, and he's going to be right close enough. It's a 1/4 of a second, heading to the braking zone. Damon, is he going to try it on the inside? No, he's just a little too far back, about a 10th shy, 100 meters later, and he would have had a very fair shot at making that happen. Kato and Reimer side by side, as old Kato's, I think, may have been forced off track there. Curveball's going to try the inside of Kato now. He's going to get that one with DRS heading into turn 4. Potentially. Kato trying to send it around the outside. The corner does kind of cut back inwards then. Good move from Curveball. I do wonder if he was forced off by Reimer going through turn 3 just then. Certainly looked as if that could have been the case. Although, who knows? Not me. Through turn 8 now. Still, good battle happening here, but we'll go back along again to the battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. Johnny Damon has 3.5 of a second back to the Williams. Also a 3-second penalty for that Williams driver. And I think as long as Johnny Damon stays within reach of the Williams here, he's got a fair chance, because it looks as if Soxy's not really that confident. Well, I mean, I don't think I've ever really said those words prior to today. English doesn't work. Yeah, I think for Johnny Damon here, he's just got to kind of stay within the same wavelength as Soxy. Stay within DRS. Don't let him get ahead. And I think maybe, staying behind him whilst keeping DRS, that may help Johnny Damon, because at least that's not going to allow Soxy to pull ahead. Soxy's going to be playing it a little bit more carefully, especially if he's on, an additional warning, 2 warnings here. Johnny Damon keeps DRS, stays within a second of the Williams. And he's got himself the win of this Grand Prix. Still got a lot of racing left to go, but it's possible. He's not even activated DRS that time. And no, Johnny Damon, look at this. Tactical not using DRS. He wants to stay behind that Williams. Incredibly enough, the battle for the win of a Grand Prix is actually not overtaking the car in first place. As Merck, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. He's had himself a unfortunate day, that's for sure. Curveball could have a look at Reimer here going up the hill. Reimer's got, I believe that's R. Manson ahead of him, not really within striking distance. Oh, Kato! Goodness me! Well, he nearly went straight through the back end of Curveball. Curveball's going to spin with sympathy here, and of course, Ghosting coming to the rescue. That's actually going to make Bongit make a mistake, and Owa and John the Prince are going to get promoted to 11th and 12th because Bongit, I think, got afraid. As Reimer and R. Manson, a little bit of argy-bargy there going through turn 4. Well, that was a little odd, wasn't it? And what's even more odd, was going to use DRS this time. Unless he's been using it, and oh no, he's turned it off again. Nah, there's no way that's a glitch in the video. Surely not. He'll use it again and immediately close it. Johnny Damon is not interested in passing Soxy here because he knows as soon as he gets around the Williams, he will lose DRS. All he needs to do is stay within reach. As Angry Walrus, is he going to find the inside of Sepulveda here? No, not quite. Up the hill now. Or Manson may have a look at Reimer up the hill through turn number 2 and 3. John the Prince getting around Owa. Then I think Bongit may have a look. Walrus has gotten around Sepulveda. That being through turn 4. Yeah, still 0.3 of a second. But again, we see Johnny Damon quite comfortable in second place. I think is he waiting for Soxy maybe to pick up another 3-second time penalty, and that will allow him to make the move and then not need to worry about if Soxy gets him back. Because Soxy, as quick as he's been, is not going to put 6 seconds back on Johnny Damon unless he makes a mistake on his own. Once again, DRS choosing not to be activated here. This is astounding. I've never seen anything like this. DRS activated now. Gets himself back within 3.5 of a second and shuts it off. Ha! I mean, this is incredible, quite honestly. I've never seen anything like this. Maybe it's not on purpose. Maybe he does have DRS open and we're just seeing it wrong with the picture. That could absolutely be the case. But, I mean, come on now. Kato is going to have a look at Reimer here round the outside. Well, he very well could. Oh, look at that. Manson does make contact with the back end of Kato, but doesn't go round. That one was very close to being dangerous then. By the way, we're coming up closer to 10 laps to go. It's been a lightning-fast Grand Prix, this. As Bongit now is going to have a look at Owa to the inside. No, not quite. Not this time. He will have a bit of a tank slapper on the back end, though. And we'll lose a little bit of time. Thinking Owa may have a look at John the Prince here relatively soon. As Walrus now, 3-second penalty puts him up to 9. That's going to allow for the time being a double podium for the Sauber team. You know, Sepulveda and Damon, two very quick drivers. Again, we were talking about Sepulveda prior to the race. Could very well break the top 10 here today. And I think he's absolutely got the potential to do that. Sepulveda, however, though, 23-lap old hard tires. Still is. How was he not pit yet? I just realized that. Sepulveda started the race on those very same hard tires. And is in a position where, I tell you what, still putting together some good laps. He's not being closed in on behind by Charlie Gulf. He's staying competitive with Angry Walrus. I mean, realistically, Sepulveda doing very, very well here on 23-lap old hard tires. I mean, that is ridiculous. We'll go back along with a penalty tracker here. Soxy on 3 seconds. Angry Walrus on 90, WCJ on 6, Kato on 3, Manson on 3, Curveball on 3, Raptor on 10, Merc on 3, Pontiac Bandit on 6. Down the pit straight again. And is he going to try it this time? Nope, once again, DRS closed. He does not want to overtake the leader of this race. I mean, this is ridiculous. He could have absolutely gotten him by now if he just kept DRS on. Is he even using his battery? No, he's not, hardly. He saved it up 96%. Johnny Damon doesn't want to lead this Grand Prix. Not right now. He doesn't need to. I think he just needs to put together some good laps and call it good. But I tell you what, the moment that Johnny Damon picks up a 3-second penalty, which very well could happen, you know, it's one of those things where it's like any given moment, the tides could completely change here, the turns could table, and Johnny Damon could pick up a 3-second penalty, and then it's a battle genuinely for the lead and for the win between these two. It could happen, well, honestly. Cato within a couple of tenths of Reimer here, doesn't get it. Oh, look at this. John the Prince tries to go around the outside of Manson, doesn't quite get it. Maybe in trouble from Owa behind. No, not quite. Not for the time being. Oh, but maybe now to the inside through turn 6. No. So Sepulveda into the pit lane. Finally, the tire whisperer Sepulveda. 25 laps on a set of hard tires. This is going to demote him quite a ways down the grid. I think he's going to fall behind Bongit here, but still. It'll be soft tires. Have yet to see the softs used in competition today, aside from the quali. So yeah, so he'll drop to 14th. Oh, Bongit's gone wide. Owa, I think, as well. Something's gone wrong there. I think potentially was contact made somewhere along the line between those couple of drivers. I will say this, if Sepulveda can catch to the back end of this train here, he could very well be battling for this same, 7th spot. He's not all that far out of the way. He just needs to make up the 3.5 seconds to the back end of Bongit, get himself DRSs, and he's in. At the line this time will be 10 laps to go in a very entertaining Austrian Grand Prix. Or Styrian Grand Prix. I don't know what they call it now. Remember that 1 year, 2 years they held back-to-back races? Thought that was pretty cool. I think if ever a track to do that sort of thing on. Oh, here goes Johnny Damon. He's making the overtake. Get your cameras ready. He's not done this whole race. I think now is in a position maybe. Could he have been, maybe saving tires as well? You have to think about that sort of thing. Because he's had plenty of opportunities to genuinely get around the Williams as well. He's chosen not to. And now they're side by side. And Johnny Damon's going to stay ahead. And he's got still half a battery remaining. I mean, Johnny Damon playing this one to a T here. As Cato, I think, is going to either be overtaken or shoved out of position by Reimer. Not really sure. Sepulveda has gotten around Bongit, and I think is generally getting himself, well, I was going to say into this battle, but I think maybe as Bongit made a mistake and has allowed Sepulveda to close in. R. Manson to the inside of John the Prince. Oh, contact made! And the Aston Martin briefly turns into a lawnmower. The Red Bull on the outside turns into an off-roader, and it appears everything stays okay. Sepulveda, though, might still be in position to gain some spots if he can get up to this battle. Although, again, though, you have to wonder about the structural integrity of those soft tires. Again, we haven't seen them in this race session so far, so we don't know how long they'll be able to last. They could be totally bum, we don't know. But I think the Ferrari has gone around there. I think it's just Hemphead has maybe spun through that first corner, I'm afraid. Uh-oh, Bongit, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's not good. Although the good news for him, he's going to be fighting amongst plenty of drivers here for genuine position. R. Manson was able to hold off either that or get close to Owa. I don't think Sepulveda was close enough that time to make it happen. Down the hill into turn 4. Nope, not this time. Not quite. Still looking for it, though. Still 0.3 of a second as we have a yellow flag again. And it's one of the Ferraris. It's Hemphead again. Oh, Hemphead is beached. Hemphead is beached. This could very well be something here if he doesn't get that car free. That car is stuck on the outside. He's still really lighting up the tires. Reset the track, man. Just do it. No, he's been disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. I don't think that's going to warrant a safety car. The game has freed the car just fine. Huh. So now watch out for the extra slow Ferrari there, who the game has ended his day for him. I think in that situation, just reset the track. Honestly. Just looking to see here if Sepulveda could have a look at Owa. He is within 0.3 of a second, and I think might be closing in here enough to find a move. We do have John the Prince down to the inside of Kato, and I think if a mistake is made here by either of the two, that could open the door for the Red Bull behind. No, John the Prince is actually going to make that one very nicely up to that 8th spot, and he's going to be gaining a couple of positions here as well, I think. With the 3-second currently occupied by Reimer, that'll put him up to 7th. DWCJ, I don't think is going to lose a spot at the time being with this penalty. Sepulveda has gotten around Owa up to the 10th position for the Sauber. Angry Walrus still in the 9. So he'll be able to get around Charlie Golf here. He's going to lose, I think, at least the position to official. Walrus up the inside here on Charlie Golf. Is he going to have a look? Nah, it was half-hearted at best. But Charlie Golf's gone deep into the corner. And Walrus now... Merc has actually kind of made more of a move there than Angry Walrus, I'm afraid. DRS activated for the Invisible Alpine and the Aston Martin in question. This has got to be so weird as a driver, though. It definitely is as a caster. Anyways, John the Prince now, and Reimer, has actually gotten around the outside of the Mercedes here going through turn 4. Good little battle this. Kato looks on and hopes a mistake is made. Sepulveda trying to close in is a 1.5 seconds behind. Reimer has gotten around the outside of John the Prince that time going through turn 6. Good little move there. Kato trying to look in behind and hope that something happens soon. At the line this time, as they begin the 32nd lap of the Grand Prix, we will have 5 laps to go. Johnny Damon has stayed ahead of Soxy. All well and true. Just the question is now, does Johnny Damon keep himself off of a 3-second time penalty? Does he keep the win genuinely, or will he have to fight? For the time being, it looks as if he's keeping it, but still so much time left, so many opportunities to lose this advantage that he has. Up the hill they go, heading for turn number 2 and 3. After that, John the Prince is going to look for the outside of Reimer this time. Reimer will probably just park this one on the apex and make sure the McLaren doesn't get run. Oh! And John the Prince spins it on his own and falls down to 12th. Oh, and that's about as unfortunate as it gets there. I'm afraid that's just pure error from the McLaren. And a day for the McLaren team, which started good, went to crap, then back to halfway decent, and to at least crap again for John the Prince. 5 laps to go here for the Austrian Grand Prix, and what a race it's been. So much has been going on. I've hardly had a minute to catch my breath, which I suppose is a good thing, as much as I don't want to die. I think it's pretty good when I don't get to breathe, because there's so much going on. Up the hill through Niki Lauda, turn number 1. Angry Walrus, despite having 9 seconds in penalty, isn't really concerned with that. I think he's generally going to try to get around Charlie Golf here. He knows that at least DWCJ, Reimer, and Kato behind him have a good amount of penalty, and at the moment, I don't think he'll even lose position to DWCJ, being that he's got the 6 seconds. So yeah, only down to 5th for Walrus. So he's going to try to put as much time as he can back to official. Kato around the outside of Reimer will get that 7th spot nicely done, but Reimer still charging on the inside. A little bit of contact there, potentially? Don't know. Armanton, 3-second penalty for him, puts him up to 6. Got another yellow flag, it said, going through the corner. I think it was something has happened there. I don't really know. Sepulveda watches on and knows that he could get both of these positions here, find himself up to 7th, best case scenario. As Reimer and Kato battle ahead, both of these drivers, again, battling for position. Sepulveda does not need to go hog wild here. He just needs to finish this Grand Prix. Oh, and that was a big slide, and he nearly lost that opportunity just then. It may not have looked like much to you, but as a driver, and you make that big of a snap of oversteer, that's what we call a code brown, and Sepulveda's absolutely just had one. It's a good thing his black overalls don't show it that much. Anyways, Angry Walrus up the hill. He'll get to the inside of Charlie Golf, going through that 3rd corner. If he's able to actually take the position, no, not quite. Charlie Golf outpaces him on the outside. As we have a yellow flag, Walrus will get to the inside of Charlie Golf this time. Oh, and again, Charlie Golf trying to outbrake him. Go back along with Reimer and Kato here. This is truly a battle for position. Charlie Golf, unless he makes a mistake, will be getting the spot versus Angry Walrus. Reimer will tuck back in line. No DRS activated for the Mercedes. Sepulveda's actually fallen off just a little bit. 2 cars ahead of him are actually now outside of a second and might be under pressure from Owa here. At the line this time will be 4 laps to go. We got the Haas of Raptor who's gone round. He has lost a little bit of the front wing, not enough for any sort of safety car or virtual safety car. 3 laps to go. DWCJ now, a little bit of a battle. He's going to try to get down the inside of Official and does just that. Nicely done for DWCJ, up to the 5th spot, although he'll be losing it with his penalty. In potentially a little bit of a battle happening ahead, Sepulveda's clawed back 0.3 of a second here, back to Reimer and Cato, as the two look to battle into the first corner. Reimer tucks in behind. Will probably try to outpace Cato up the hill, up into turns 2 and 3. Already will have the ability as they make their way through the MotoGP section of the track, that little chicane, up into turn number 3. Reimer has got the position, but Cato still trying to have it round the outside. Not quite going to happen. Reimer will force him out of position. Nicely done. Sepulveda in position. 0.2 of a second. DRS activated. Here goes Sepulveda, trying to potentially find the inside. Does he get both of them genuinely on track? That would be something. Oh, way late on the brakes. He has saved it, but goodness me, we talked about Code Brown a lap ago. That's another one. There's no other way to say that. He has nearly found that 7th place go tumbling away from him. So now, less than 2 laps to go as Johnny Damon and Soxy make their way up the hill into turns 2 and 3 for what is the penultimate time now. Soxy has done all he can. He just better hope that Johnny Damon picks up a 3-second penalty. I think that would be pretty much his only hope at this point of being actually able to battle for the win. So we'll go along with him here, just in case that mistake is made. I think Soxy has a lot of his battery left as well. So does Johnny Damon. Both of them ready for the nuclear option here if need be. DWCJ has gotten around Official down to the inside. Raptor up to 13 seconds in penalty. But I think for Soxy, this guy, well, he'll be kicking himself after today. That's absolutely true. But Johnny Damon, coming out of the final corner for the penultimate time, has 1 lap left to go before he wins the Austrian Grand Prix. 10 corners remain. Can he keep it clean and keep himself out of penalty trouble? Exiting the first corner, he's done it well. That one was the scary one there. And now up the hill in through turns 2 and 3. This is where it gets easier here. This is miles easier than the turn 1 track limits. Task number 2 for Johnny Damon. Completed. And gets away well. Down the hill. Soxy is going to try this one round the outside and hope that Johnny Damon makes a mistake behind. Soxy's going to push himself wide. Johnny Damon back to the inside and is going to get that position genuinely, although they are still side by side. Goodness me, don't do anything stupid. Thankfully, Johnny Damon has gotten around him there. That was scary. I thought we were about to look at a game-changing collision then. Through turn 7 and 8 and keeps it well. Johnny Damon making his way into the Jock and Rin turn 9. If he keeps it well here and then out of turn 10, it will be his race, and he's done it so well. The only driver to really challenge Soxy all season long is Johnny Damon in the Sauber, winning the Austrian Grand Prix. Soxy, still a great race from him, finishes second. Charlie Golf, I think has actually gotten around the outside of Angry Walrus and will take third on merit. Nicely done from Charlie Golf. Angry Walrus, how many positions is he going to lose? Only down to 5th, DWCJ to 6th, Official up to 4th. And now the question is, as they make their way to the final corner, Reimer coming to the line now. Crosses the line 7th, Cato 8th, Sepulveda will go up to 7th, Owa up to 8th, Reimer down to 9th, Cato to 10th, John the Prince will get Manson 11th, 12th for the Aston Martin, and it's just now Curveball and Raptor. And what a fantastic Grand Prix this has been. Johnny Damon, your winner today. And be sure to join us next time out when we head to the Barcelona-Catalunya circuit for round at number 8. Hotspot, it's been a pleasure joining you once again here in the CCRL Elite Tier, and we'll see you next time.